Welcome to You Lead the Podcast. I'm Melanie Gronheit, your transformational coach and mentor, and I created You Lead to break down the stigma that is keeping us small and holding us back from living the lives we dream of. We go beyond the basics to create a life where you are the leading force so you can thrive in your body, relationship, wealth, money, business, and spiritual connections. Where we rewire your nervous system and truly expand into living a free and alive life. In these episodes, we will have juicy conversation full of all the quotes, tools, tips that really work. Anything is possible with a calm nervous system, radical honesty, and where you are the one leading in all areas of your life. I can't wait for you to see the magic waiting for you on the other side of this journey. With that, let's get into the episode. Hi everyone. So before we actually go into the episode, I just wanted to do this quick introduction for it because right back then when I had this recording or this conversation with Hieke, I guess it was around September, October last year, I have to check. But yeah, it's been a while since then and a lot has been happening afterwards. But what you will hear in this episode is that I have actually never experienced breathwork when I have this conversation with Hieke, and she promised me to have this session with her, and we did, and it was just so profound and so deep and so amazing. So I actually joined her program afterwards because I just needed to have another experience with it and going deeper with it. But what you can hear in this episode is that we are talking about her journey and her amazing transformation that she's been through and how breathwork actually gave her some purpose in her life again, finding the purpose for her and getting out of this hamster wheel she was on. So even though a lot has been happening since we did this recording and Hieke has been doing a lot of amazing stuff afterwards and launching new courses and new programs, I just wanted to put this out anyway because her journey is so profound and so I would have loved to say so unique, but knowing so many of us experiencing burnout and feeling real lost in life, I just like to share her story because Hieke turned that around. She found herself again and she found her purpose in life. So I'm just looking forward for you to have her story and to really dive deep into how amazing breathwork is. And with that, I guess just let's get into the episode. So, hi Hieke and welcome to this episode. Welcome to the show. I'm super excited to be having you here on this episode and just tell me something about breathwork because breathwork is something I know about but never experienced. And just before we actually pressed record, you promised that I would experience it. So I'm super excited about that. But thank you for joining. And just could you just introduce yourself? And I would like to start where people actually started. So just take us back to where you were and where you are now and how actually breathwork changed that for you.
Yes, love it. Thank you so much for inviting me, first of all. I'm really excited to be here to share my journey and to share how breathwork has helped me in that. So I will take you back to basically my rock bottom, and then we start from there.
Yeah.
So I spend the majority of my life repressing emotions, not knowing how to fully express myself. I'm always feeling like I needed to be more, like I needed to do more, that I wasn't good enough in relationships and work everywhere. And you wouldn't have known that if you'd met me at the time because I was very good at putting like a happy mask on. I think a lot of people do that. I just didn't allow myself to feel anything else than happiness, which is, of course, toxic positivity. I was deep into it with myself. And eventually, of course, the bubble popped. And what triggered that, what was like the bubble popping moment, and I remember this very, very clearly, is that I was working in B2B sales. So I was an account manager in the IT industry, completely different from what I'm doing now, right?
They're like the same here, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, then it's a very high pressure environment. I wasn't very happy. I was under a lot of stress. And what still blows my mind to this day, actually, is that as a group of colleagues, like the team and I,
Mhm.
we would talk about how stressed we were
Mhm.
as if it was a good thing, like as if it was some kind of accomplishment, something that we achieved. Like the more stressed you are, the better you are at your job, and the better
Yeah.
you are at doing life. Like kudos for you for being.
Yeah, I agree on that because we had the same conversation when I was in my job. We had a colleague. She actually went down with stress, and everyone was like, "Oh, we saw that coming, but we are so much in a hurry, and it's going good, and it's going." And I was just in shock. If you saw that
It's
coming,
insane.
like how is that a normal thing to say? Oh, she just went down with burnout because we are
Yeah,
doing so much, and
like
that's
one
it.
after the other collapse.
Yeah,
It's normal.
yeah. So do you yeah, back to you,
It's
then you were, like, so totally burned out or how?
Yeah, like I remember the exact moment what happened was that I had a car on lease, like a company leased a car, and they had like this pool of cars that you would drive for the time that you're working there. And after a while, if like they liked what you were doing enough, you got to choose a new car. And woo, that was like a huge thing in like the sales world. I was working with like 95% guys. So maybe that's why the car had such like a status symbol.
Yes,
I
that
don't
is,
know.
yeah.
Mm. So one day I knew that the lease for the car that I was driving, that it was ending. So one day my manager came to me and he was like, "Hieke, come with me. I have amazing news for you. Congratulations." And I was like, what the fuck is happening, you know?
Mhm.
And he was like, "You get to choose your own car." And I just looked at him like, first of all, you don't know me at all. You don't know what I value in my life at all. Like, you're
No.
my manager. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And second of all, I panicked. I froze. So 30 minutes later, I sat with HR, a very nice lady, and she asked me, like, what's going on? Like, you don't seem to be doing very well. And I just broke down there. I told her I can't do, like, the new car would come with a 4-year lease again. So I told her I can't do a 4-year commitment if I don't even know how to get through one day.
Yeah.
If I don't even know how to make it through today or tomorrow or next week, the thought of that commitment for 4 years, it was just like, nah. My
No.
body was like, no, we're out. We're
Mhm.
not doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I burned out. That was my rock bottom, burned out. And in hindsight, that was such a gift.
Mm.
Like it was such a blessing because I knew at that moment that this is not what I want my life to feel like. This is not the life I signed up for. I didn't come here to be stressed, pay the bills, and die,
Mhm.
you
No.
know? So I
No.
knew at that moment I have to make a change. I had to get my shit together, figure out what I truly want, take responsibility for the situation that I was in. And then from there, start making decisions that were in alignment with where I actually wanted to go. And mostly learn to trust myself and to trust my intuition again and to really come back home to me. Because if I was honest with myself, I was living my life on autopilot. I had no idea who I was anymore. I had no
Mhm.
idea what I wanted in life. I was just going through the motions, day by day, moment by no moment, getting up, dragging myself out of bed, already exhausted, getting stuck in traffic on my way to work. So arriving at work already stressed and tense, and then getting more stressed during the workday, going
Mm.
home, feeling completely dead, having dinner, going to bed, and then the next day the same. And the day after again and again and again. Like that was my life. And when I burned out, I was like, how the fuck did that happen? Like where did I miss like the instructions for this? Like this is
Mhm.
not what it's supposed to be like. How did I end up here? So yeah, I had to get my shit together. And I think the biggest realization that I had that was that my life on paper looked great. Like I followed all the steps. I went to college, I graduated, got a job, got a promotion, got a car, bought a house. Like I followed all the steps, did what was expected of me, but I forgot about me. Like I felt miserable, even though from the outside I was successful, but I felt so miserable.
Yeah.
And now, after a lot of healing, a lot of inner work, a lot of uncomfortable growth, which is an ongoing process still, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have my own business. I just came back from living in India for a little over 6 months. I'm making plans to move to another country again. And honestly, all of that doesn't even matter. What matters is that I feel at home within myself and that I know how to express myself fully and that I know how to feel my emotions, how to regulate myself, how to express them, and that I'm comfortable with who I am. Or actually, more than comfortable, I'm proud of who I am.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm enough. I know that I'm worthy. I trust that things will always work out for me. I trust myself, which is like a big thing. I believe in myself. I listen to my body. I listen to my intuition, and I'm happy. And not like the surface level happiness that I forced on myself years ago, like a happy mask and everything is fine, everything is going great, but it wasn't. But now I'm truly happy. And even in like the midst of a shitstorm or when things are falling apart, because, you know, it's life, things fall apart sometimes. It happens.
Yeah.
But underneath all of that, I am still happy. And I might not be happy with a particular situation, but I'm happy with who I am. And I know that I have the power to change or leave any situation that I'm in. And that, like, that's the biggest gift I could ever have given myself.
Yeah. And I could really feel the tense energy or like emotion when you were talking about your old self, the job. I could feel it in my body, and I actually also kind of feel like emotional while listening to your story. And then it all went away when you told about yourself where you are right now. I could just feel it, like
Yeah.
that it was the tenseness and all that. It was just gone within just how you're sitting there smiling, telling about how how you're proud of yourself, of you are right now.
Yeah.
And I really also like that you said something about taking responsibility of your life. And this is also something, and it's not coincidence. My podcast is calling you lead. It's like that's the main thing. You
I love that.
can't you can't change anything without you actually become both radical honest with yourself about how you're feeling and what you're feeling, and also what you don't want to feel and what you're suppressing.
Yeah.
And then take responsibility and just lead your life through all of it. But then again, I also know this is the hard part for many people, because also for me in the beginning, because where do we start? You
I
feel this
know.
emotion. You feel like it's something uncomfortable, but no one has ever taught you to listen to yourself or to feel into your emotions. And when you feel the emotions, it hurts, it's uncomfortable. And people say when you feel uncomfortable,
Let's
it's
suppress
bad.
it.
Yeah, yeah, let's
Don't
suppress
cry.
it.
Crying is
Yeah.
weak. Don't yell. You have to be
Exactly.
quiet. It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But at the time, I also didn't know that.
No.
And it takes a
how do
shitload
you
of courage
how
to
did you
look
find
at
out?
yourself.
How did you find out?
Well, I mean, I literally
Did you
broke
Google?
down and was like a little mess.
Yeah.
And at the time, I knew that I didn't want to stay in like the job that I was doing, but I also had no idea what else. But then being burned out, the system in the Netherlands is great. So I was on full sick leave. I got paid, but I was sick at home under treatment with doctors and psychologists to recover. A lot of mindset work. And at the time, I was also doing NLP studies, just like you, I think. And so I was like, oh, you know, I can do this. I have all this information. I'm going to get myself out of here in like no time. But it didn't happen. And I was like, well, what the fuck, you know? If this is not working,
Yeah.
Why am I not feeling better? Like, I know, I understand logically
Yeah.
what happened and I can make changes, but I still feel crappy. So what else is there? Like, what am I missing? And I listened to a podcast at the time, and they were interviewing this person, and she was talking about breath work. I mean, talk
And
about a full
yeah.
circle moment
Yeah,
here, but
exactly.
she was talking about breath work, and I was like, well, that's intriguing. You know, I knew pranayama and like breathing exercises from like more like the yoga space.
Yeah.
But the way she was talking about it, I was like, well, that's something else, you know. I gotta try that. So after when I finished the episode, I went to her Instagram. I signed up for her free class. She had like this free workshop coming up, so I signed up for that. And I remember so vividly that I went to that class and we did the breathing. And I just after that, I was just like, what the fuck just happened? I had never felt so amazing. I had never felt so powerful. And I knew, like, I gotta do this again. So I continued, doing classes, buying programs, getting a coach, doing all the work. And that's when I really started to understand the difference between trying to heal or get over something from the mind or doing it from the body.
Yeah.
And learning how to process your emotions, learning how to feel your feelings, because in the end, your body is like an emotional storehouse. So everything that you suppress is like in there.
Yeah.
And you can override that with your mind for a while until you break down. And some people might never reach that point in their lifetime, which is great. But unfortunately, a lot of people, especially nowadays, like I hear it everywhere around me, people burning out, people having too much
The
stress,
same.
people breaking
Yeah.
down. Like it's insane. So that's after doing a lot of breath work, I was like, okay, if I want to be a coach, because at that point I was also like, I don't want to work in sales anymore. I don't want to work for anyone, actually. I just want to work for myself. I want to help other people. How am I going to help them? What am I going to help them with? Breath work. Like it was so clear for me because of how much it had done for me that I knew that I had to share that. Because when I did the first breathwork session, besides all the like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, part of me was also like, why the fuck did no one tell me about this?
Yeah.
Like, why is this not mainstream? Why is this not normal? Why do most people don't know about this?
Yeah.
So we're
For
changing
me,
that.
because also in regards to emotions, and I had the same experience, and as you said, I also went I was certified in NLP and all that. So I was like, I know all the things now. I know how my mind works, and I know trauma, and I know how
Yeah.
how it all functions in your subconscious and all that. And then what I experienced is that even though I knew about emotions and stored emotions in your body and how that can affect your thinking and affect your well-being in general,
Mm.
I still was caught up in my logical mind. So when I was
Yeah.
feeling something, my logical mind would instantly say, oh, this feeling in your chest, it's anxiety. Then label it with anxiety, and then it was like, okay, my logical mind then went to work. I have anxiety. I have to do this. Or I have to breathe. Or I have to do something else instead of just letting myself feel the sensation, feel the thing that my body was actually telling me without labeling it, and then just let sort of the emotion come without me trying to put it in a box.
We just love to like put a label on it, create a story around it,
Yeah,
make it our entire identity,
yeah,
but it's not necessary. But no one teaches you that when you're growing up in school. Like no one, and I hope that from our generation, children are actually taught that, because a lot of people are more aware and interested in this kind of work now. But when we were growing up, it was just not really a thing.
I try to right now with my boys, I have 2 boys, I try to when they are feeling something, instead of saying, "Oh, you mad or you angry," I say, "What are you feeling? How is that
Yeah.
feeling?" And my oldest, he's 7, he said the other day that he was excited about going to school again and a bit nervous, and then he said, "Mommy, I have like a tingling feeling. I have it weird
No.
in my stomach," and then we just talk about how it was feeling in his body without putting a label on it and saying, "Oh, you are just excited or you are anxious." Let's just no, just let him feel the emotion or the sensation in the body and process from there, putting some
Yeah.
words on how it feels like, how it looks like, or something like that, instead of saying, "Oh, you're just
Yeah.
excited to go to school."
Yeah.
No, I
Like
just let him.
dismissing
Yeah,
it like that as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it's like we give it a name, we put a label on it, but that comes from our own perception. Because being scared of something and feeling excited about something have an almost similar experience in the body. It's just a label that we put on it. So
Yeah,
if someone tells me I feel these and these and these sensations, and I tell that person, "Oh, you're just scared,"
yeah.
then and that has like a negative feeling to it. Where I could also tell them, "Oh, you're just excited," and then it sounds more positive, but the experience is almost the same. And we don't have to label it at all.
Oh, exactly. So how would you say that? Because again, breath work is what I would say going at a level deeper, and as you said, rather than the mind just going to the body. I am just fascinating about shadow work and emotions attached to that. Do you have something around how breath work can help you actually discover, I would say, your shadows and dissolve like all these hidden things that would you wouldn't know you
Yeah.
were having, both
Yeah.
also the feeling of shame and guilt and all that that you don't want to feel.
Mm.
Like, how can
Mhm.
breath work actually be something helpful in regards to that?
Well, it can for sure. So, what happens with breath work, and we're talking about transformational breath work here, because
Mhm.
breath work in general refers to any kind of exercise where you intentionally change your breathing pattern. But what we're talking about here really is transformational breath work. So, that's an active meditation where you use a conscious connected breathing pattern to bypass your mind. So, you're literally putting your ego in the passenger seat. And when that happens, like your ego and your mind, they kind of suppress all these hidden memories, all these stored emotions in the body. They kind of keep that down because they don't want to look at that. They don't, like there's a reason that we suppress it. So let it stay suppressed. But when you take the ego out of the picture, you give your body a chance to allow things to surface, to allow things to come up and to release themselves. Through the breathing pattern, you get yourself in that state where you basically give your body a chance to heal itself. And it's a beautiful experience. And every experience is going to be different for every person, because your body will only give you and show you what you're ready to release.
Mm.
So it's not like you're going to do one breathwork session and all
All
your
gone.
yuckiness, all your happiness comes up and you're like completely like, "Oh my God, this is terrible." No, 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 no. Your body is really, really smart.
Yeah.
So it will actually come in phases. So then when it comes to shadow work, when it comes to limiting beliefs, emotions that we would rather not feel, when you do breath work, this is also part of why you do transformational breath work with a facilitator, preferably someone who is trauma informed, because you can get these old things that come to the surface. But in a breathwork session, you meet them with love. And when you meet shame or fear or guilt with love, it it integrates back into your wholeness and it's not so heavy anymore.
Love that.
Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And also because what I also see is that right now everyone is talking about, yeah, focus on what you like, where you're going and who you want to become and the positive things, and
Mm,
just really feel into that. And what I actually experienced is that I was so much in focus on feeling on that. And yeah, I had, like, I told myself, I know around emotions and I know around subconscious work and all that. So I know I have these limiting beliefs and this blocks and all that. But I was so focused on everyone is saying you need to look ahead and you need to go do the things that will embody your future self and the
mm,
positive side of you. So every time I felt something nagging and something where I was self sabotage, I would not acknowledge that I actually had a shadow side, and I wouldn't see her or see myself in that, and would feel shame around that until I actually let myself feel all that and feel it with,
exactly.
as you said, with love and with respect and with acknowledgement, and
Yeah.
like we are both parts, and it's okay to also be that part as well. Yeah.
It's all part of you. And I think a lot of people are gaslighting themselves. Because if you dismiss the fact that you feel something, whether that's shame, guilt, fear, or happiness, joy, excitement, if you dismiss that you're feeling that, you're literally dismissing part of yourself. You're dismissing a part of yourself. You're rejecting a part of yourself. And what will that do? That part that feels the shame, feels rejected, and is going to ask for more attention. So you're going to end up with like the opposite thing of what you want, because that part is only going to
Hmm.
pop up more because it's screaming for attention. And when you give it the attention, like you say, with love, with respect, you can integrate it back into your wholeness. And then it's not going to be like, hello, give me attention. Like something triggers you, and immediately that part is like, oh, now we're ashamed. Oh, let's feel guilty about this. No, if you
Yeah.
give it the attention that it's looking for, then it's not gonna scream for attention anymore.
I love that. So I have also a perspective around, because I also came from corporate and
Mm.
being in that world, you could say, and going totally other direction. And I would say breathwork is something more commonly known now, but still something people would have some, I guess, their own ideas and thoughts of. So
Hmm.
how could you actually use you becoming a breathwork facilitator in regards to actually stepping totally out of your old identity of being in a corporate job and going out and say, this is me, this is new me, and this is how,
Well,
yeah,
that's a
like,
process.
how was that? Yeah.
That was tough. That was tough as hell. But yeah, like the thing with breathwork in my experience is that, like we talked about, who do you want to become? What do you want in your life? And for me, I think that still comes a lot from what our mind thinks that we should want. Even when we get out of the corporate world and we start to do, something else, there is still a lot of should haves, even in the spiritual world, because then you also all of a sudden have like new standards or whatever. And I think the beauty and the power of breath work is that it reconnects you so deep to who you are that it's not about who you want to become, it's about who you are becoming. And you're so strongly connected to your intuition that it's the only way. And it's scary. And I've tried to like find like a middle ground between it. When I just started my business, I was like, oh, I really feel like a strong pull towards that. But hmm, what will people think if I start sharing things like that? Or, so I kind of dialed it down a lot. And I didn't get the results I wanted. Still didn't feel like myself. So I had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, well, what are you doing now? You left corporate world for this isn't this reason. You wanted to become more like yourself. You wanted to do what you want. You wanted to create your own life. Why are you not doing it? It's like, oh yeah, okay.
Mm.
That's another layer that I got to work through. And like, I think that's in any like healing or personal growth or inner work environment, there's no end point. Like, I don't think that there's a point where we will be like, I'm fully healed. Like, every time when you heal a part of yourself, after that, you'll be able to go a layer deeper. So for me, the same pattern showed up again in my business, which meant that there was like a deeper root cause that I then got to heal. So with breathwork, like, breathwork is a remembering. You just remember who you are, and then you just have to find the courage to actually listen to it and do the thing. But yeah, breathwork has definitely helped me build that confidence as well and that belief in myself.
I love that. So
It's beautiful
remembering,
work.
I love that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, because like we all like if you're from a soul level, we came here with a mission, with a purpose. Like I said, I didn't come I knew when I burned out, I had like this sudden realization, I'm not here to pay the bills and die. I'm not here to be stressed all the time. I knew that I was here for something else. And breathwork helps you remember that. And then, of course, it's breathwork. I work with some other embodiment and somatic healing tools, some mindset tools still, because mindset work, I do believe that true transformation happens in the body, but it can be supported by mindset work. And then once you remember who the fuck you are, then it's about getting the support in making the steps to get you to have your external reality match your internal like reality. And honestly, actually, one thing, probably the biggest lesson through all of this that I've had is that what your life feels like is much more important than what your life looks like. Like I used to be obsessed. Not obsessed, but I had a career and I wanted a promotion and I wanted to own a house and I wanted to have a nicer car. Like I was making sure that my external life looked a certain way that was acceptable in this society, basically. But I felt miserable. So now I'm like, what my life feels like, that's what matters. I don't care where I am as long as I feel good.
Mm. Yeah, because what I also think is that we are so much in, as you said, in autopilot and just focusing on the external things and what we have been taught that it's important for us to reach house, kids, job,
Mm.
and no one actually told you about that it's how it actually should feel. I think everyone has a purpose here in life. Some loved having a house, a job, a corporate job, and all that, but that's also because they feel it. They feel it in
Yeah.
their that it's the right thing for them to do, and but we've never been taught that if you desire a fancy car, why do you desire a fancy car? Is it because you want that recognition from people, or because you really can feel within your body it's exciting to have this car and it is giving you this feeling and it is just making your life a lot more brighter because you have this car to drive around with? I don't know,
Yeah.
because we are always like, why do you actually want it? Why do you desire it? And if you don't have learned that it's all about, as you said, how your life is feeling. So when your life is not feeling great, then you go and numb it with something. And
Hmm.
again, with your story, going to work, going stressed, going back, and then just going to bed and then start it again, and probably just watching Netflix and not eating healthy as well because we just numb it.
Mhm.
Because it's
Have
it's
no
tough to
energy to
feel
cook a
something that
healthy
doesn't feel
dinner.
good, right?
Exactly. I'll just order a pizza again.
No.
Who's gonna cook a healthy meal
Mm.
when you're stuck in traffic for 2 freaking hours and have the worst day of your life every single day? But yeah, it really is, if you want a fancy car, if you love a certain car or what, like,
Mm.
do it for you, drive it, make sure that you get it, like work for it, get it, drive it, enjoy it, but do it for you. And I think that's a big difference that I wasn't really doing things for me. I was doing them because I thought they were expected of me. And I do remember that I was thinking a lot of the time, after a couple of years, I'll be able to get out of this and then I can just travel. After, like, I was putting my happiness on hold and I kept saying, well, after this promotion, after this, after that, then I'll be able to quit my job and do what I want, which is ridiculous if you think about it.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
now you're doing what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. 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 It's a huge shift, but
That's
worth it.
that's amazing. Like, I'm really excited about having the experience with the breath work because with someone as you guiding me, really just because that's a different tool that I really look forward to experience. If we should somehow sum up the episode, and if you should think about telling someone that when just desires to somehow, as you said in the beginning, take responsibility of her life, what would you say is as both as something just a motivation or inspiration or just where to start or maybe saying yes, what would you say to someone who's that's coming up to you and say, I really am just stuck right now and I just really to take responsibility of my life. Where should I start?
Well, I would say breathe, obviously. But no,
Mm.
like for real, if you're feeling stuck, you're not stuck. You're just disconnected from your body. We get stuck because we stay in our mind. If you drop in your body, your intuition will speak to you. You'll learn how to trust yourself and you'll never feel stuck again. And if you feel like, I also have moments where I'm like, oh, I get too much in my head and I'm like, oh, what should I do? How will I, like the technical stuff of owning a business, landing pages, coaching platforms, all that stuff, it freaks me out. So every time when I have something like that to do, I notice myself thinking, I feel so stuck. And then I remember, like, oh, wait, no, I'm just disconnected from my body. Let me drop in my body. Let me take a breath. And things will work out. Like, they really will, I promise. So that's what I would say. And one other thing, which I think it's very important to add, is that life is supposed to be lived. So don't get so caught up in your healing, in your personal growth, in your breath work or meditation or mindset work, even. Like, don't get so caught up in it that you forget that you actually have a life out there waiting to be experienced. Because that can happen simultaneously. You don't have to choose one or the other. Because, like I said before, it's not like you do the work and then you're fully healed and life is going to be all rainbow and sunshine and unicorns on like clouds and whatever. It's not like that. So find a way to live your life, to create your life, and to make it as enjoyable, as pleasurable as you can while doing the inner work and growing and working on yourself.
Oh, I love that. That was a
Yeah.
perfect ending for this episode. I really love that. So before ending, where could people actually where could they find you and if they really want to also experience breathwork and experience it with you, where should they look up? Where can they find you?
The easiest thing would be on Instagram, which is at I am Hieke. There's all my information. As we're recording this, I am working on a new website. By the time this is live, fingers crossed, the website is live as well. So then the website is thefreedomvortex.com. And if you want to breathe with me, either send me a message on Instagram. I do offer free workshops regularly, so you can always drop in and sign up for that and have your first breathwork experience. If you're an experienced breather, you're also more than welcome, of course. Yeah, so I would say Instagram is probably the easiest way. And then the website is getting worked on at the moment.
I'll make sure to link to that. Yeah, I will
Yeah,
link to the
thank
website
you.
as well when it's
Thank you.
updated. I
Thank
promise that. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for the talk, Hieke. And I really enjoyed the perspective of breathwork. I'm definitely going to experience that now. I'm really just to go that in depth with my own body. I'm looking forward to do that. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I absolutely love talking to you. And yeah, I mean, this is such an important topic to talk about, not just breathwork specifically, but like leading yourself to do what you want to do, to create the life that you want to have, to feel what you want to feel. I think that's like the most powerful work in the world. Whatever modality you choose for that, whatever works for you, as long as you are like enjoying the shit out of it and growing, I think that's what matters.